to That Pedal Show! Dan here!
Mick here, hello!
Whee! That's one of the best guitar sounds I've ever heard.
What made me laugh about that is I went to turn the power booster down and it just wasn't possible.
It's all the way down. That's as low as it goes.
Blimey O'Reilly. What are we doing then, Dan?
Right.
We finally got a Hiwatt, as you can see.
Yes. So, my friend Chris Ryan has graciously loaned us his 100-watt 1972 custom Hiwatt.
And how do we know that? How do we know Chris again?
Chris is from Custom Pedal Boards and builds.
So those two-tier boards that you see Dan and I using that have got, in our pedal board builds, Chris makes those.
Yep. And he's loaned us some pedals. His friend Chris sent me this picture. I've wanted to do this show ever since I first had this from ThroBak.
ThroBak, who also makes pickups.
They also make pickups, yeah. And they made. I've got the other. They got a bunch of really great pedals.
Yeah.
Anyway, my friend Aziz Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Heard my overdrive boost and he took it. And he bought it off me. This is years ago, and that's been the foundation of his tone like since. And I didn't grab one, but as in I didn't replace it until I saw Scotty from ProAnalog.
Okay, quick. So, hang on. First of all, let's give Aziz a quick honk.
Yes,
Aziz, don't know if you watch this. If you do, hello, mate.
Right. The thing is, the original Power Boost is so rare.
Okay.
Really, really hard to get hold of. So let's going to rewind.
Rewind. When Dan showed me this for the first time, I was like, oh my goodness, that's great. He's like, yeah, that's a power booster. I'm like, it's not often I've never heard of something.
Right.
I've never heard of one of these before. No idea what it is.
Okay, right. In the late 60s, the Power Booster is one of the very first overdrive pedals ever made. A transistor overdrive pedal made in the late 60s and used by, famously, by Jeff Beck.
Right. Oh, I can honk Jeff Beck. Went to his graduation.
David Gilmour heard...
Spoke to him on the phone.
David Gilmour. I was on his barge. I'd never met him, but I was on his barge. I was on his barge.
Yeah. I think you can have the barge can have a...
Right. So, David Gilmour picked one of these up in 1972 after Jeff Beck had already been playing one for a couple of years. And he used it on the Eclipse suite, which would then become Dark Side of the Moon. You Were Here. Animals. And I think then it was replaced by a Pete Cornish pedal. But definitely that era.
If you want to check any of Dan's Pink Floyd facts, go to gilmourish.com.
Yes.
And
I have researched this.
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
No. You have right to be.
No.
There's a load more information on this, as you say, gilmourish.com. But it's fascinating. So the sound we just heard then was the Power Boost. Now that is as low as it will go, right? So the amp just by itself, Power Boost on its lowest possible setting. Have a go on that.
Get out of town. We've been filming acoustic guitar videos today, which has been great. It's been lovely. That's why the PA's in place. But that is something else.
It's amazing.
For anyone looking at the screen at this moment going, oh, you haven't got a Hiwatt 4x12. In that 212 are two EVs. So my Hiwatt amp knowledge is not good, and it's the one amp that evades us both.
Yeah. It's so the
Already bought one after after just hearing 2 notes on that. But what did Gilmore use? He used those WEM cabinets.
WEM cabinets, Fane speakers.
Fanes, I think, was what
Yeah.
was in the Hiwatt cabinets. Maybe, don't know. You'll need to go online and check that out.
Yeah.
But
So the cabinet from around that time, the purple back Fanes. Anyway, it's a very different sounding cabinet than a standard
412.
like the 412, and that compared to the Fane 4x12
Yeah.
is incredibly close.
Really?
Yeah. I was really surprised.
It's basically Insania, isn't it? Because
It's headroom.
the Hiwatt 100 is well known. Is it a DR103? Is that the model? Do you know?
You know what?
It's the classic 100 watt Hiwatt.
Yeah.
And it is running into a cabinet with 2 EV12Ms.
Yes.
EVM12L.
VM12L.
Yeah. So that is... We're going to find out about that in a minute.
Yeah. The Hiwatt is a fascinating amplifier. Its output section is closer to like a hi-fi
So I've
output
heard.
section.
And I've also heard that it's similar to like an Ampeg bass.
Yeah, it's
output
just
section.
so open. It's so open.
Need to do some reading.
Really big transformers, so
Yeah.
there's no caving in going, it's that sort of thing.
It's totally bonkers. I don't know if Simon can get in there with the camera, but what you'll see is that so it's a 4-input amp, so you can mix the 2 inputs the same you can on a 4-input Marshall. But unlike a 4-input Marshall of the late 60s and early 70s, not quite sure when master volume came along. Anyway, it has a master volume, and you can see the master volume's position, which is already too loud for most modern stages.
Yeah. And if you look at where the input gains are, any other amplifier I know of, if you had the input gain set there, it would be screaming distortion, whereas that's just that is something else.
It's the transients off it and the headroom is literally unbelievable. I can't believe I've never sat here and had a go on before. Played a 50 watt, but never a 100 watt. I just want to hear some.
Apparently they're quite different.
Yeah. I want to hear some Strat. As they always are. 50 and 100 watt Marshalls.
Yeah.
They're always very different. I just want to hear some Strat position 2 and 4 in that, because Dan and I are both in 432 hertz tuning on these 2 guitars today. So kick that off in the comments section.
wind your volume back a little bit.
Wow, not too much more of that because that's ear damaging.
Yeah, that's...
No wonder bloody Pete Townsend and... No wonder they're all deaf. That is crazy. You know, Dan and I play some loud amps. 100-watt plexi is one thing. That is another.
That's a whole different
Everyone
world.
says it. You're all writing in the comment section now. Yeah, you idiots, we've been telling you this for months. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. Okay, right. So, quick thing about the Hiwatts. So, you have David Gilmour, Jimmy Page, and
I can't honk Jimmy Page.
can you honk
Never met him.
Pete Townsend?
I spoke to him on the phone very briefly
Oh, that'll do.
once.
So, they are like three very famous users of this amplifier. However, they all had custom modifications done to it.
Right.
David Gilmour's is the simplest, which just bridged the two high gain inputs as
Right.
opposed to the high gain going to the low gain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's, you can do the same thing with just a Y cable.
Yeah.
Um,
Because on both channels you've got a high and a low, and the low is a few dB lower than
Exactly.
10 dB or something.
Exactly.
8 dB, what is it usually?
uh,
Something like that.
yeah. So instead of bridging, going out of the second input into the low gain of the other channel, he just bridges both
Yep.
high gain channels. Pete Townsend's mod was like he had 4 volume controls on each of the inputs, and then just a bass and treble. Still only used one input. I don't know what that was about. And I think Jimmy Page's had more gain or something. I'm not exactly sure, but the David Gilmour's was basically that bridge mod. Anyway, back to the pedals. So that is the sound of the original Power Boost. Now, if you notice, it only has 3 knobs. It's got volume, bass, and treble, right? It's so funny if you think back, you know, when these amps were out, early 70s, and they were wanting some more, because the amp is so loud and so clean, they wanted some more drive. And then when this came along,
It's almost impossible to imagine it, isn't it? Because these days, the idea of needing 100 watts to be heard it's hard to imagine how that was ever the case.
yeah,
But if you think about, you know, late 60s, Clapton and Cream playing the Albert Hall,
yeah,
you know, not much is going through the PA there really, apart from the vocals and the PA such that it was. So you did need power. And
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily about being loud, it was about being heard, which is a completely different thing at the back of the room.
So if now what I'll do, I'm going to turn this down, and I'm going to turn the Power Boost up so that you can see how much the range of level it's got.
Okay.
And something really interesting happens
Just
at
before you do.
That's something else, man.
First time I've connected with this guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
It's making me question everything.
Me too. We are totally getting one.
Can we just...
It's insane.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this down. If you just play again. Right, so that's really quiet. Okay.
Just going to give you an idea of how loud that is. So normally we would never leave the vocal mics up when we're doing this, but that's how loud it is. Normally that would blow the vocal mic out so badly compared to how we normally play. So that's probably 75 dB, maybe 80.
It's very, very quiet.
It's quiet. It's home. It's bedroom level.
Yeah.
True bedroom level.
The Power Boost is now on its minimum setting. Okay, so if you play. So that's as quiet as it goes.
Still not crazy loud.
It's not crazy loud, but in comparison to the clean sound. Okay.
What you know is, as soon as you juice that amp, which we will in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, mama.
Right, now, listen to this. As I turn up.
So many things in my head. Hear all the acoustic guitars going. Ooh.
Can you believe that this is one of the first overdrive pedals ever? How did they, without having a wealth of things come before it, how did they get that sound straight out of the, first go?
So what is it? A transistor-based overdrive?
Just transistor-based overdrive.
Why is it so loud?
And we'll get on to that in a second. It just was, right? They said, well, here's the,
Thing is, Jimmy, it just is.
It just is. Right, but have a listen to this. Have a listen to what happens when we get to the end of the treble on the volume, on the gain. Right,
that's
the gain. There's a point here.
Apologies for the rubbish playing.
There's a 2mm area right at the end, right? Right, so when people were hearing that, it was like, it's incredible, I love it, but I need control over the output, because this is now the amp by itself.
Now, to be fair, if you were going into a small amp at this point, that massive jump in volume wouldn't be so big because the amp would cave in.
It would.
It's only that this has got ridiculous headroom that it is allowing it to lift it that much.
Yeah.
Like if you hit a Blues Junior with that, it would just...
Yeah, but just nothing much out. But one of the things, why it was so popular is the treble. If we pull down the bass and turn the treble up with that fuzz tone, so... So it will cut. So what happened here? The orange pedal, it was sold at, I want to say,
Macari's.
it was sold at Macari's. The Americans didn't like the orange colour, so they released it in a grey pedal called the Overdrive, right? Exactly the same circuit. Then they released the pedal with a master volume on the side. Okay, so it's basically the same circuit, but gives you control over the output level.
I had one.
You didn't!
I had an overdriver.
You had a real one?
I'm guessing it might have been a reissue.
Okay.
But it was an overdriver and it was silver.
Yeah, the hammerite type colour. Okay, so you had a real one.
And I thought it sounded awful, so I got rid of it. Because I didn't understand. I'm thinking it was, to be fair, I think it was a reissue. It wasn't the original.
Right. So, for me, that's one of the best guitar sounds I've ever heard, right?
I'd say what's really interesting. So we, I'm going to throw the cat among the pigeons here. We did the Origin FX Revival Drive a couple of weeks back. And a lot of people were a bit annoyed by that video because they felt we hadn't given it a fair shot, or we'd spent a long time trying to get a great sound, but what we hadn't tried was this, or what we didn't do was that permutation or whatever. And I'm not, that, to me, that's doing that job straight out of the, that's doing like a dying amp sound.
Yeah.
A bit.
I
with all, all those extra overtones and harmonics and all those things.
Yeah.
It's, I can just imagine this on the end of your pedal board doing that job.
We have to remember what it's going into, though.
Yeah, okay.
And this is an amp that we're not familiar with, and it's, we're familiar with it in the fact that we've heard it our entire lives, but for me, this is the first time I've sat in a room in front of one like this. But the pairing of the two is classic.
Right.
Right? And that's that sound. Then the next version came along that had the master volume so that you could get that level of gain, but you didn't have to have that level of output.
Yeah.
All right? Now, that's what these are all doing.
So these are all modern remakes of this?
These are all modern remakes of this with a few little tweaks. Now, two ways that you can use it as a standalone overdrive or as the booster in front of or after another pedal. Another classic combination is using it in conjunction with a silicon fuzz. Okay.
Oh, if only you had one of those.
So, if we...
can I put some more volume back on
Yes,
this?
I'm going to put it back up. Yep.
Just because there's something that happens in all amps, but especially in amps that have huge transformers. They need to breathe a bit, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Because as great as that was, it was a bit kind of small.
Yeah.
And I think the minute you open this up...
The idea is just so that you could see the amount of level that was putting out.
Well, I just tweaked that up by about 2 millimeters.
Right.
Up on the...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus. Honestly, that is absolutely insane. I'm just going to leave it on, Dan.
What, this?
Yeah, leave it on, and I'll just show you how loud it is without actually killing anybody.
Okay.
No, it's all right. It's fine. It's fine. Just put it on. That is absolutely biblical guitar sound. That is absolutely a biblical guitar sound. If an alien comes down from outer space and says, "What is electric guitar?" What is electric guitar? I'm going to go, "It's this, mate. This is what it is." We come in peace.
crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, right. Let's move on. So, master volume.
Okay.
So this would be a good place to start, right?
Yeah.
Because that was insane.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If there was a dB meter in front of that, 1 meter away, it will probably be doing 120, 118.
Yeah.
Loud, loud, loud.
Yeah. And interestingly, you know, the guitar directly in is fine, but the amp has so much headroom.
Yeah.
That you can push the input
Yeah.
to get to levels of that.
So everyone's going to be saying now, oh, can't we hear it into a lower headroom amp? Then maybe we'll do that another time. We'll include one of these in Pick and Mix or something.
Sure. Okay. Right.
Master volume.
Master volume. So
this is a remake.
this is a remake. So this is from Tru-Fi. We've got a few of these pedals in. My dear friend Paul Stacey, who I'm going to honk, he called me and says, I've been trying a few of these out. You have to try them out. So here we go. Right. So on the next version of this, the master volume on the side. So you can, you know, I love the way they've done this.
Oh, just play that. It's ridiculous. How has this never been in my life before?
I don't know. I feel all weird that this is the first time we're hearing this.
I don't know whether it's the amp or whether it's the pedal or what it is. Before this video ends, right on the end of this video, I'm just going to throw up another amp. We're going to plug them in, just play for 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, good chat. Okay,
so that's killer. That's not going back.
Just bloody wonderful.
That's going on my new pedal board, Dan.
Okay, I might have to fight you for it.
I think we've got 2.
Right, Scott, I've used this actually when I was on tour in Japan. I used this and it was fantastic. So this is the Scotty's version from ProAnalog. You have shown.
Pretty sweet. So this is our gain, yeah?
That's the gain, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the master.
Just do me like a nice high headroom overdrive, can you?
Yep.
Hear that? Hear that?
Yep.
Blooming.
Yep.
Where's that coming from? Is that the pedal or the amp?
Well, the pedal. Look, that's the amp. No, okay. It's the interaction. It's being pushed. Okay, let's keep going.
Right, let's stop it. Let's stop it. Let's stop going. This is a true light bulb moment. We've had the light bulb moment. No more light bulb moments required. Okay, either of those. Happy days.
Yep.
Actually, just before we move on, can you give me the full-on crazy business?
Yep.
And let's see, because this was thick and fuzzy and woolly.
Yep.
Either of them.
Okay.
Have a play, Dan. I'm doing all the playing.
No, you play.
Okay, you go next time maybe.
All right, yeah. Okay, right. So, let's have a look at the Color Drive. Now, this is from Vintage FX. These guys make some wonderful stuff. This is the one that.
Just going to ask you to rewind a second.
Okay. Yep.
What is probably being yelled at the screen at this point is, you guys always play single coils, please try some humbuckers. So if we leave the power driver in that same crazy position. Works with humbuckers.
Okay.
Tick. Goodness gracious me.
Right. Okay. So Color Drive. This is Chris's favourite. This is the one that he uses at the moment.
Made by whom?
Made by Vintage FX.
Right.
So.
Do you remember the British 70s? Might have run into the 80s as well. Program called The Goodies.
You kidding? Of course I do.
Okay, I just
goody.
Yeah. So Tim Brooke Taylor, Bill Oddie, and
Graham Gardner.
Graham
Garden, of course.
Was that his name, or was it Gardner? You might be right.
Anyway,
that's their typeface pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I think something similar to that. Anyway.
Becky Thump. Far out. Okay, more love.
The thing that's great about overdrives, normal overdrives, let's take a Tube Screamer, for example. They're round, they're not nasty in any way, they give you compression and sustain, and all of those things, that's great. The problem with overdrives is they can become mushy and indistinct, and actually you can lack the dynamic range if you like that sort of thing, if you were a fan of amp overdrive, for example. The great thing about transistor type boosts and fuzzes and overdrives is it's almost like the opposite of that. All the roundness and all the loveliness and all the niceness is gone. How many people do you know, maybe including you, who says, I can't get on with treble boosters, don't understand fuzz, doesn't make any sense to me. because that nice world of a really well sorted overdrive is comfortable and easy to play and buttery and smooth and all those things, right? And then these really aggressive transistory boosts, and within that I would include stuff like the Hudson Broadcast, which can just seem a bit aggressive. That, to me, is the best combination of distortion, overdrive, fuzz, and boost that I have ever heard. This design, I cannot believe it. I can't believe we've come this far
and not played with them yet,
and not had one. It's honestly.
Well, the reason being though is I've been waiting to find an original, and they're just not out there.
Whoa! I actually think this could get rid of the clon on my board, because you might think that those two things aren't doing the same thing.
We need to try it. You know what we need to do? We need to get the Two-Rock up and see what it's like into the Two-Rock.
Some other time, yeah. When we build my board.
Yeah. Okay. Great idea. Okay.
Oh man,
spectacular.
So is that still available? Do you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Is Scotty still making the power driver?
Yes.
Teddy is making these.
Yep.
The Tru-Fi.
Yep.
We'll put links in the thing, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
I believe ThroBak's still making the Overdrive Boost and the electric guitars. This is one we just got in. The Bananaboost again, recommended to me by Mr. Stacey.
Let's have a listen to that then.
So.
It's interesting where the harmonic feedback tends to come in at quite a high pitch.
Right.
I noticed that's happened 2 or 3 times now.
Okay.
Which must say something about where the main boost ranges are.
This, for me, has got that same thing that the original's got, where right at the end of the traveling pot, you get all that little bit of colour.
It definitely has what feels like it had a more nasally vocal mid-range character to it.
Right.
And I don't know whether that's simply that if you know, in relation to where the EQ pots are set, you know, i.e. if you've got less bass and treble, it's more middly, and if you've got more, it's more scooped. But it seemed to have a more vocal. Just compare it to this one,
yes,
just
of course.
for 2 seconds.
Yep.
Probably longer than 2 seconds. You know, the Color Driver's got plenty of quack as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I love it for that. I love that kind of. Is that one? Is that one?
Yes.
Bananaboost.
Yep.
Yeah. I love it for that because you think it does all that crazy fuzzy stuff, but just the.
Well, this is the other part.
overdrive.
This is the other part of that, though. We have to get into, because I need to show you the other way that people use this, which is extraordinary.
All right,
but
let's have a quick listen to the throwback then
Yeah.
before, or do you want to?
No.
Yeah.
No. So I mean,
They all sound pretty spectacular. So let's just listen to the ThroBak for a second.
Okay, so ThroBak. So the ThroBak has a couple of extra things on it. There's a pre-gain which increases the gain in the front end of the pedal. So
it kind of, with the pre-gain on, it sounds more like the others. It sounds
Yep. And then here, this is includes a germanium transistor in the front as well. So I'll need to adjust the. It also increases the gain. I'll need to adjust the master because it will turn the volume down. But just have a play of this. Killer. Okay.
Yeah, right. Say they are clearly all capable of. Normally, when we look at pedals of the same world, they all sound very different. These don't sound very different. So I'm guessing they are basically clones, are they?
Yeah, I would say
Scotty will have done some tweaks for sure, because he always does.
Yeah.
In the ProAnalog.
Look, I'm sure the differences, but I think in this world, you know, the guys who follow this stuff, it's a sacred thing. You know,
I just can't believe it.
Yeah, we can see why.
Complete blind spot.
Bjorn will be shouting at the screen, "I've been telling you for years!"
He's a massive version.
Okay,
actually,
so
where is he from, Bjorn?
I don't know.
Swedish?
Yes, Vikings. You know.
Yeah.
Friends with Michael and.
Sorry, Bjorn.
His website is extraordinary.
Yeah. If you want anything about David Gilmour,
if this stuff interests you,
go there.
Go and have a look at gilmourish.com. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I've gone there just to check some stuff. Hours later, I find myself still crawling through his pages. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow. It's amazing. Okay, so that is the color driver used as an overdrive. Okay?
Yeah. Or actually, and a fuzz too.
And a fuzz. Exactly, yeah. Right. But this is the other one. We'll use actually, we can use a bunch of them, but if I just bring up this one again. So I'm going to bring the drive down. If you could just play this for us. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get a fuzz tone up. This is your Analog Man BC183 Sunface.
A silicon fuzz.
Silicon fuzz, yep. Now, right.
Hear these guitars going ping, 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 ping.
Now, this is with the color driver after the fuzz. So the fuzz is before the color driver, okay? So play it and I'll kick it in.
that's color driver after the fuzz.
That's the color driver after the fuzz.
Interesting, because
Okay.
it's keeping an amazing amount of fidelity, as it
Yeah,
were.
and that's the thing with the treble control.
Yeah.
Because the treble frequencies in this are really high up,
Right.
you know, and it retains a lot of that. Now, if we have a listen to the color driver going into the fuzz, so this is the fuzz.
Messy, gnarly.
Yeah.
When it's into the fuzz and.
But cool. But just so people were using it on either sides of fuzzes to give them more, you know, and in that case, even if I turn the drive down even more, so let's play this.
Don't think I've ever heard such dynamic off the volume control of the guitar. That was absolute bang on, almost acoustic guitar clean.
Yeah.
all the way through to crazy, filthy, disgusting fuzz.
Yeah.
And
so
it wasn't doing that really farting out on the bottom thing, which
No.
is great for some things with fuzz, but, not everybody loves that.
So I don't know, you tell me.
Get on.
1968, that thing's designed.
They didn't know how good it was then, did they? Because everything was brilliant then. They hadn't heard... Delete what I'm about to say here. They hadn't gone, oh yeah, I'm really pleased with this, I'm really pleased with this, I'm really pleased with this. Oh, I need to get rid of all this and buy all this old crap again. Oh my God, what a biblical experience.
It does my head in how, that whole Fender thing, this, the Strat, that these guys that get it right the first time, that, for me, I've not heard a better sound than that.
No, and
it's not, and I'm not being nostalgic.
No.
We get some great guitar sounds in here, but how is it that thing from...
I think to anyone feeling cynical at this point, there might be two prongs of attack.
Okay.
One is, for goodness sake, the guitar market should just be moving on. Forget about all this old school crap.
Yep.
I'll quote James Gadsden yet again. It's not old school, it's the school.
Thank you. Nice.
Right?
Yep.
Because this is where rock and roll was born.
Yep.
So yeah, sure, you can move on and you can do all your stuff if you want. But this, for me, this enables me to be more creative and more expressive and more... I am in tune with this thing that's on the end of my fingers that goes down this wire into that thing and into that thing. I'm connected as this whole, and I just immediately felt it. Haven't connected with that Mayer guitar really yet, and then immediately there's dynamic there, and it's all great, and I'm really enjoying it. That's one prong of attack. The other is, oh, you idiots! How could you not have known this existed before?
Yeah.
Well,
Fair enough.
it just shows that it never ends.
No.
It's always a continuing journey, and that's why you should never stop looking.
The Hiwatt is known as, one of the great...
Oh, we'll get them on, mate.
Yeah, okay.
We're if you're out there and you want to sell one for a sensible price, please get in touch. Might have to move some things along. I'll trade some things.
Yeah.
Are you done blowing my mind?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to put another amp on here. We'll leave the 212 EV cab up, and we'll just put an amp that is a great amp that we like. And actually, there is an amp I really want to hear with EVs.
Okay.
And we'll just swap this out for a lower headroom amp.
Okay.
And we'll see.
Oh, okay. Yes.
We'll
good
see
chat.
what happens.
Nice.
You crazy kids. Right. Pesky kids.
Would have got away from it too, wasn't you? Meddling. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I've swapped it out for a Victory V40 Deluxe, which is perceived as a clean amp, but it does overdrive really nicely, and I'm super interested to hear this through EVs.
Okay.
Daniel, if you wouldn't mind. There's nothing on there, is there?
No.
For anyone who thought the Victory V40 Deluxe is a clean amplifier, that's it overdriving through a pair of EVs. Keep going. It's very nice.
I think it's a bit treble in that. First.
Okay, I'll just go to the opposite end of that. going to turn the reverb down. So we're getting into color driver world now, are we?
Yes.
Color driver world. Okay. I will just dial in a bit more grit on the front end of that amp. Turn the master down a bit so that we are definitely dealing with a lower headroom deal.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
So. Interesting how much harder that guitar was pushing it. Yet again, another crazy Telecaster from Dan. Okay. Really interesting because what we're getting now is a bit of amp, dying amp
Yes.
in there as well.
Yep.
Different.
It is different.
It is different. And I think another observation to make here is in comparison to a regular overdrive pedal, where a regular overdrive pedal can sometimes work really nicely, pushing the amp into a bit of overdrive, what that's doing is adding a bit of harshness.
Yes.
And to me, we're back into sort of revival drive territory of having those extra artifacts and squashy and all of that stuff, which some people really, really, really love,
Yeah.
and some people love less.
Can we try that at maximum headroom? Okay, let's try that again. So definitely works better with the high headroom thing, but that and into the Hiwatt, that sound.
Yeah, it's hurting that a bit
It
more,
is.
isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Very interesting.
So you do get... all right, I can't wait to hear more of that Hiwatt because it's in a completely different stratosphere to stuff. Be interested to compare it to the two rock actually.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms
And
of...
we will do.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Fascinating, Daniel.
I'm emotionally bereft of, and I have nothing left. I'm drained after that because I'm now thinking, okay, now what do I do? I need to get the 100-watt Hiwatt. I need to get the EVs, and start to.
Let's be honest for a second here. Using that Hiwatt is gonna be tough, isn't it?
In a real world situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough because
Yeah.
right at that point where it starts to go, hello.
Well, funnily enough, Chris, who's loaned me this, he's still out gigging all the time. He's taking out little Silverface what are those ones we tried?
Vibrolux, Champ,
Princeton's. And that's been sat in his lockup, for a while, because it's so rare that you can actually get into a venue that works.
Yeah.
So, yes, as magic as that is, it doesn't matter. We'll still have to get one.
So how do we get it? How do we do it at lower volume? And then ensues the conversation that's been had since about 1974. How do we do this but at lower volume?
Yeah.
We still haven't worked out a way where it sounds not just a bit like it, but anything like it at all.
Okay, there's the quest. Do we want that to be our quest though? Because I want a quest to work when I open up a loud venue. That's a better quest. Brilliant. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. It's been fascinating. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, great. Really,
more
really,
to come.
Really.
This is the start of the adventure. So thank you for watching.
Start of another adventure.
Massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wouldn't be possible without you. Massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is
Anderson's Music of Guildford, Surrey, where you probably can't buy any of these pedals.
Imagine
maybe some of them.
Yeah, fairly soon. In the US of A
would be Riff City Guitar of New Hope, Minnesota, and somewhere near there, and also Sioux Falls.
Sioux, S-I-O-U-X.
I think so. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, which is in the state south of there, I believe.
I have a friend named Sue, spelt like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Was she in a band?
No, her parents were hippies.
Oh, right.
Oh, she was in a band. Yeah, anyway.
Wasn't her, was it?
What?
Susie and the Banshees.
Oh, no. Is that how you spell?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
S-I-A-U-X, Susie?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It's like one of those Irish names where...
Oh, Siobhan?
It's actually Dave, but all the letters make no sense whatsoever. It's like, hello. He's actually called Dave. Some of the letters don't even exist. Apologies to everyone in Ireland.
In Australia, Brisbane, Queensland.
That would be Pedal Empire.
We have Steve-O and Dave-O. They're all simple names.
Yeah. Anything in Australia, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Is that a teleo?
We have a habit of...
Or is it just a toe?
We have a habit of calling things the way that we see them. We name them as we see them.
Yeah.
There's a snake in Australia. It's a black snake that has a red belly. Called a red belly black snake.
Yeah, ute. Utility vehicle.
Ute, yeah. Did you know apparently we developed our accent so that we'd speak with very tight lips so the flies wouldn't fly into our mouths?
Oh, mate, I don't think you can ever go back at this point. Although it would be
Like
useful
what?
in here today.
It would have been.
Anyway. Right, cool. Let's finish this video.
And where are we at? Oh, yes, if you want to go and help us, support us to buy a 100-watt Hiwatt for the studio, go to the store and purchase a T-shirt.
We're starting the Hiwatt Fund.
We are. Thank you guys so much. I really hope you enjoyed that. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.